All right. So yes, it is now Montoya. It is now Montoya time. His title for the 500 million thing is 500 million is peanuts. What a Chad. Here we go. Let's see what Montoya has to say about Star Citizen getting $500 million.
A lot of you have been reaching out, wanting to know my opinion about this.
Definitely.
Star Citizen.
I really want to know.
$500 million. Got to do the pinky thing. 500 million in funding. $500 million. I've been holding off on making this video until something very important happened, and that is I'm waiting for Kotaku to tell us how to feel about it. And thank you.
Yes.
It came up.
I love this guy.
Luke Plunkett, thank you. Yesterday, 11 p.m., made the article. Star Citizen has now raised off $500 million. The game was announced, Year of our Lord 2012. So before we even look at it, you know what's going to happen, right? He's going to talk about an insane amount of money. He's going to talk about the game not being out. He's going to talk about how he was in kindergarten when the game was announced, and now he is a brain surgeon on his third wife and his fifth child, and the passage of time thing. So let's go down the article and take a look. But
we can't just ignore the passage of time.
Here, and I took a peek before I did this. The real gold is what the common people have to say. The clay of the New West. Did I mess up that quote? Look up the common people and the clay of the New West, younger people. You'll get the reference. I want to see what they have to say, because that's where the real good stuff's going to be. So the game's taking forever. This is what the Kickstarter made. Reddit says funny things about it. $500 million has been in development for a decade. If this was 5 years ago, it's not. Now it's just sad. I want to remind you that Obama was president. Thank you very much. And now, just to remind you of how long ago 2012 was, here's a list of games. All right, so SimCity. Oh, okay.
Oh, my God.
That's actually interesting. Dead Space 3, FIFA 13, Resident Evil 6, Crysis 3. Really? So look, 2012 was 10 years ago. He's right about that. So let's go down to the good stuff.
That is actually pretty crazy.
Yeah, and top comment. And it's a good one, because the guy says, I just don't understand how people are still giving them money. And I say that.
I mean, honestly, I don't
as
understand it
one of the
either.
original Kickstarter backers. So this guy's credibility. He must know what he's talking about, because in 2012 he gave $45 and then hasn't played the game. He's forgotten about the game. So he has no understanding of it. But let's just dig in. Is it just the same?
Here's the thing. Nobody needs to understand anything other than 10 years is a long time. And that was no one's expectation at any point when they bought this game that in 2022, this would still be the state of the game. Like there is no argument against this. Not a single person, not Montoya, not anybody sat here and went, yeah, we would still really be hoping our items would persist in 2022, let alone still be on servers with just 100 people on them and no missions, no economy, one star system. Yeah, guys, that's, you know what? They don't understand game development. Come on, man. That's a silly thing to say. This person and most of these people in these comments are absolutely going to be straight up stupid. But we cannot defend and we cannot ignore the fact that this is the train is not on the tracks here, and it hasn't been the entire time.
Same people giving more and more money, like some kind of cult. I love the intellectual laziness that some people have. When they don't understand something, what you can do is, let me look into it, understand this. Or I can just say it's a cult, because that's just easier. It just shows how intellectually dishonest and lazy I am by saying that.
It's weird. I take the time and try to understand it, but it definitely feels like a cult following at times. I just got back from the Florida Bar Citizen, right? And that's not how it felt. It was a lot of people that find fun in the game, do enjoy it, but most of them don't play the game. I asked every single person that came up to me and said hello or whatever. I said, I just asked them, how often do you play the game? And most of them were like, once in a while, right? Nobody's playing the game because it's not good. They're they're interested in the project, and they are very much enjoying the community around Star Citizen because it's older and it's more mature and things like that. But uh it's not an enjoyable game to play, right? It was fun, but it's only fun for a little bit of time, and they're still waiting for whatever they're waiting for. Most players had their thing that they wanted really bad, right? But there's no understanding this. You don't need to understand it that this has been too long, right? That's all.
And I don't even know. Can I give an example? You know, like I'm not a sneaker guy. I have these Skechers. I have the slip-on Skechers. I buy a new pair every year and a half. I buy a new pair of Skechers. But I know there's people out there that buy sneakers, that buy these Air Jordans for $500, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 for rare shoes. I don't get it. But I don't call it a cult. The fact is, I don't understand it enough. I don't understand sneaker culture enough that I know I don't know. And I think it takes some amount.
The difference is if you had a negative take at it, I'm not sure you would get the kickback that you do as a Star Citizen detractor may, right? You get people who literally just go nuts and attack other people who say bad things about Star Citizen. Trust me, I know, right? I was actually sort of nervous going to the event because I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know if somebody was going to say something, do something, whatever, be really weird, because I have not always had good things to say. But and that is a real fear because of the way people act. Now, I don't know if sneakerheads are the same way either, but I would imagine they would give you good reasons of why they are into sneakers or whatever, right? But instead, it's a lot of stuff like this that we get.
Intellectual honesty to understand something.
It's not a cult. I don't think it is.
To understand
there is
how
cult-like
little
behavior.
you know about a topic.
Star Citizen has a cult following.
Is where everyone should be.
Period.
Rather than just say, I don't get it, must be a cult. It's so stupid and it's so
But I agree with his
widespread on the internet these days that people who know the Dunning-Kruger, that's exactly what it is, Dunning-Kruger effect. People who have the least amount of knowledge always come off as if they know the most. And it's endlessly frustrating and endlessly sad for individuals like Temet over here. But following up with that is Bundo Laugh saying, cult, yes, it's a cult of sunken costs. So this is another take on the whole sunk cost fallacy, that if you put in $45 once, then you must keep putting in dollars because it's impossible for you to get up and leave the game. My argument against that is almost every single individual I know that backed early on with lots of money has not put in a lot of fresh money. In fact, what they keep doing, what we call it in Star Citizen, is you melt a ship. You get a ship and you can get store credit for it later. So if you bought something for money now, you can melt it and get store credit for that and put that store credit towards something new.
I'm definitely one of those people,
I know,
right?
And I mention this all the time. I have lots of tiny, small ships. And every time something new comes along, which is nice, I simply melt a bunch of the other stuff and consolidate it into one new shiny ship. So where is the new money coming from then is the question. And I've mentioned this in the past so many times. There's all these YouTubers out there, these massive YouTubers, and they get millions of views on their videos. And people watch these videos and goes, holy crap, this is amazing. I'm interested in this game. And new money is finding its way into Star Citizen. So the sunk cost fallacy argument is absolute nonsense. Does it exist? Sure, maybe. But majority of the money is fresh money coming in. There's no old backers putting in $100 million. We'll get back to this chart in a second, but you can see
that's not true
the amount
either.
Of money
but
coming into Star Citizen is increasing dramatically. It's not people like me putting in more thousands and thousands of dollars every year. It's not me, and it's no one I know.
Do we know that? It was in the letter for the chairman in 2020.
And that is not sunk cost. That is not sunk cost. So let's move on and
I
dig
believe
into the good stuff here. Look, well, this is a rare one. He's actually right. People try the game for free and enjoy it. That's the give of money. Simple as that. Thank you, Rick. Jumping into the lion's den there and spitting some truth. That is true. There's a free fly events. People try the game for free. If you like it for free, you can back or don't back. Or if you watch someone play it and you like it, you can try it for free then. That's exactly what's happening. And
I think more people are watching videos and seeing trailers and buying the game that way.
Massive amount of funding that's coming in this year. Yep. Just like any cult, it makes its members become both financially and emotionally dependent on said cult. So this poor individual here suffers from some sort of mental deficiencies because that's not how cults work. A cult doesn't pay you.
You know, I
in
don't
fact,
like
if there
that
is a
stuff.
cult that pays you to be in it, sign me up. I am interested. But he's saying here that the cult pays you and makes you financially dependent and emotionally dependent on that cult. You know, this must be projection of some kind. It's such a stupid take that can only come from projection. This individual here must have become emotionally dependent on some game somewhere.
Probably
And,
Star
he
Citizen.
felt
To be honest, I
abandoned or he
recognize
felt
his
that
screen
treated
name.
badly. And it's just a strange comment, but comments like this just come straight from projection. Again, makes no sense because cults don't pay you, nor do I know anyone who's emotionally dependent on Star Citizen. That is just weird. Why would anyone be emotionally dependent on a game? That is one of the weirdest things I have read in a while. But don't let us down, Incall. Give us a better one. I think it's probably a combination of blind simps who don't realize they're being scammed.
We're
won't admit they're being
emotionally
scammed,
and
thus continue to defend the
financially
devs, give them
dependent on
more
this game,
and
I
more
guess.
money. Again, I think
Right,
it's
Morph?
just projection. I know tons of people who simply walked away from the project. They've backed it, and they said, you know what? I'll be back in a year. I'll be back in 5 years. I'll be back when the game is out. Are there people who do defend Star Citizen religiously? Yes, there are.
Yes.
But it's not the majority of the population.
And no,
In fact,
it's
if you go
not.
to
Agreed.
Reddit, or if you go onto CIG's own forums at Spectrum,
But this is why people say cult a lot, though. Montoya, I would argue, is that some of these people may have had a take that isn't necessarily positive around Star Citizen and what happened. Those people are the people who are yelling at them, right? So it feels they represent Star Citizen in a way, and they represent the community because there's going to be a number of different groups that are going to represent the community, right? You're going to see the insane white knights that are defending it to no end and are aggressive about it, cult. You're going to see people who are insanely critical about it in a illogical way, idiots. And then you're gonna see other things that kind of make it look a little funky. You got mods deleting messages all the time about any like critical things, closing threads and things like that. Like there's some things that just like make it not look good all the time, right? Like the whole Knight Rider deleted, synthwave deleted stuff doesn't look good either necessarily. And yeah, there's a lot of things that lead up to and I love Knight Rider, just so you guys know. The image that Star Citizen has, and that's where you get this cult-like conversation. It's not necessarily it's not the majority of people. The majority of the people are the people that I met at the Bar Citizen. They all lurk in this Twitch chat or on YouTube videos, and they just play the game occasionally when a new patch comes out, checks it out, maybe a new ship that they had purchased in concept a while ago, they check it out, and then they go and play other video games or go about their lives, right? That's what most of the people do.
There's nothing but complaining and attacking the devs. So completely wrong. And again, I just think this is chock full of just projection.
Yeah, agreed,
But
Chris.
the more
It's so
important
bad.
things I want to hit on now is this. And this comment here is just one line, but such an important one. And this is important. So listen up. How many games have topped this in terms of budget? Now,
I
here's
can't
the
wait to
thing.
see what he says about this.
You cannot compare Star Citizen at this point in time to a game like Red Dead Redemption. Now, Red Dead Redemption, we don't have the exact numbers. They were anywhere between $300 and $500 million in development costs. Cyberpunk was around 174, and another one. Let's call it $400 million on development of Cyberpunk, or whatever it was at the end, or $300 million for Cyberpunk. The thing is, you can't compare Star Citizen to these games because these games were funded before the game was playable. Once the game was playable, then it was sold for money. Star Citizen is currently
I was trying to see where
kind
it's
of
going.
playable, right? You're playing it right now. If you're in Star Citizen, I'm playing it right now. We're playing the game. So you cannot compare Star Citizen to a Red Dead Redemption or a Cyberpunk, the games that had to fund first and then release the game, because Star Citizen is technically out. We are playing it. So it's more accurate to compare Star Citizen to a game people are playing right now and are funding through selling in-game items. The in-game items we buy in Star Citizen are spaceships. They're skins for the spaceships. It's in-game currency, in-game weapons as flair. So that is how you should be thinking about
in-game
Star
currency
Citizen.
like it's a good thing.
And if you had to look at the gaming industry as a whole,
it's going to be so
question,
bad.
How much money is there out there in the gaming industry that Star Citizen pulls this amount of money in? And let's take a look at what is possibly one of the biggest games out there to give you an idea of how much money there is out there, all right? PUBG. Not even PUBG, the PC game. Let's talk PUBG Mobile.
Oh, of course. Let's talk
PUBG
mobile games.
Mobile game, all right? How much money do you think PUBG Mobile made last year?
Are we now comparing Star Citizen to a malicious and mobile game marketing scheme? Okay.
I'll guess. 500 million? $1 billion? 1.5 billion? If you guessed $1.5 billion, you are wrong, because PUBG for the year 2021 made $2.6 billion. That's $2,600 million. PUBG frickin' mobile, all right? To give you a little taste, a clue of how much money is out there. PUBG was pulling in $8 million a day.
Is this a malicious marketing type game, or is it just skins and shit?
All right. So think about $8 million a day for selling in-game items, boosters, or whatever you do in PUBG Mobile. I have no idea. I'm sure there's skins and things like that. $8 million a day, and now look at the peanuts. Now this is impressive. 2021, Star Citizen pulled in $86 million. Right on the end of the screen over there, it says 86 million. All right. PUBG Mobile made that in 10 days. What took Star Citizen? It took Star Citizen the entire year to make 86 million. PUBG did in 10 days. That gives you a little hint, a little clue, a taste of the money that's out there for gaming. So when Star Citizen makes $500 million over 10 years.
Okay,
right,
I get the point he's trying to say.
This is 10 years worth of revenue shown in this chart over here. That's $500 million.
I've made this argument as well.
But PUBG puts in $2.6 billion in a single year. What is $500 million? It's a lot of money, but it is a drop in the ocean compared to what is out there. And PUBG is just one game. The amount of money out there for gaming is truly insane. And so I'm just trying to put the numbers into perspective because, yes, I'm blown away by these numbers too. That it is impressive. I think it's awesome. But over 10 years, over a period of 10 years,
And I think a lot of the things that people don't understand is they don't have 500 million in cash just in their coffers right now, and they're like swimming in it, right? It's mostly spent at this point. And that's kind of the thing is like these finished product games are making a ton of money, and this game still needs to be made. And the scary thing is what length will the Star Citizen marketing team go to make sure that the game continues to get funded? They've done some shady things, in my opinion, up to this point, and we'll have to see where they go in the future. But it's not a ton over 10 years. It's most of the money has been spent, and the state of the game is super far away from where we want it to be. So
it is a drop in the ocean compared to 8 million in a day that some games can make out there. So that is what I want to leave you with on that topic over there, because it's taken a while for me to really grasp this concept myself. Comparing development to games which fund first, then release, because Star Citizen is technically playable right now. They are selling skins, they're selling in-game items, they're selling currency. It is more accurate to compare them to games which are actually making revenue. And as far as what revenue they're making per day, Star Citizen is nowhere close. Nowhere close. Here's the past week, 293,000.
I think you need to compare it to PC games, though.
124,000 a day. Nowhere close to what the big games are making. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'll leave you a link to the article. You can take a look at it. If you like this kind of content,
I don't think you can really compare it to mobile games. But
subscribe. Your comments below
I like his logic
Give me
there.
your opinion. I'll catch you in the next one.
Yeah, I think Star Citizen does need to make a mobile game. I think that's our takeaway from this. Is Star Citizen needs to make a mobile game, and just a side game, sell a bunch of things, make a bunch of money. We need to go the full circle. All right, Squadron 42 is the original Kickstarter. Then they make Star Citizen to be like the advertising platform to make money to make Squadron 42. Then we need to get Star Citizen Mobile to fund Star Citizen's development. And like, you don't do anything in the mobile game, it just collects money, and then you actually finish the MMO. That's what we need to do. But yeah, I don't know. I think Montoya is always very much in defense of the project, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's the way him and I view things is just different at times. And this one, we're just going to look at it very differently. I just don't think you can defend 10 years in development and very little progress on the game. There's no defense, especially when you hit a $500 million goal, and most of that money has already been spent on development, and the state of the game is the state of the game. That's just how I feel about that stuff. But that's me.